Oh, okay, we're back. It's 7:18, and let's the record reflect that we're back from recess at 7:18, and we're gonna have another roll call to make sure we have quorum to conduct business.
Mayor Bieneme,
Yeah.
Councilwoman Steril, Councilman Galvin, Councilwoman Keys. Mayor, we have a quorum.
Mr. Budget Director, can you give us?
Mayor and council, I would first like to start by apologizing for the mix-up. During the course of the budget process, there were a couple items that were mistakenly omitted, and I did go back in and make adjustments to these items today, but they are key items that were left out by mistake again. The handout that I did give you is by page number, and it should be along with the pages in your book already.
Did you make it available to the public? Can we have?
You know,
Can we make copies
I'll
and?
get copies.
Okay. Yeah, we're gonna. Or you can read it, and while
No,
we're
no,
doing
no,
that.
read it.
Okay.
Page 143, non-departmental. The total did change there. What did change is on page 147, the contingency amount dropped down to $604,345.
Why is that?
What was removed was from there was for NoMi nights. That is
It's open.
a Parks and Recreation. It falls under Parks
Duke,
and
I don't think your mic is on there. They're waving.
I'm sorry. What was removed from there was for NoMi nights. It is something that's in Parks and Recreation.
How much was it?
It was for $50,000, sir.
And you say it been removed?
It's been added. It was moved from the
Add.
contingency and added to Parks and Recreation.
Oh, okay.
Also, the Biscayne Landing unappropriated balance was $2.2 million. That number has been dropped down to $2,016,494. $200,000 was removed from there and used for the forensic audit.
How much is the forensic?
We put in an
decide.
estimated $200,000 amount.
It could be less, though,
It can
Yeah.
be less
or more.
Yeah.
or
but
more.
You set aside 200,000 for it.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Page 151, grants to others. We did budget the Haitian American Chamber of Commerce, I believe is moved inside North Miami, and they did put in a request earlier, and that was admitted, and that's in the amount of $5,000, the same as the North Miami Chamber of Commerce. Page 344, Public Works,
You missed
that did change.
244, okay.
Yes, that's the department title page. Under 450, which is page 363, I removed the $1 million that all of you had in non-departmental for capital projects. I did remove that $1 million, $700,000. It's this sheet here, $700,000 was put aside for streetscape improvements, swale improvements, parking, and landscaping.
What happened to our million?
And the last $300,000 for the million that Councilwoman Keys is referring to is mistakenly omitted the maintenance contract on Biscayne Landing in the amount of $300,000.
But it's not. We don't pay the entire amount.
Right.
We-
Why you allocating the entire one when we only paid,
I account for the 125, the 150,000 in our revenues. I do account for $150,000 that the Swirlo group pays us, but we still write the check out of the city amount. So I put the $300,000 in this budget so we could pay the monthly payments in that amount. So this is a net 150, but it is
Yeah,
budgeted
for
at
accounting reason,
300,000.
you add it as a revenue
Yes,
and
sir.
then you spend it.
And that's the changes that are made. Again, I'd like to apologize for my mistake in omitting these things in the budget. It was my fault.
Are you
Thank
done
you,
with
sir.
your presentation?
I'm done with my presentation, sir.
Okay, and thank you very much. Now, I think we're gonna open public hearing. Then after that, each council member is gonna be able to speak. And you have about 2 minutes to speak. You always can come back, but 2 minutes. Public hearing is now open on the budget.
Good evening. My name is Judy Brown, and I'm from Sunkist Grove Community Association. And I'm here to request that in some way, form, or fashion, you'll be able to find enough money in the budget to build or a walking track on the undeveloped land behind this Joe Celestine Center at Pepper Park. We have elderly people that's in our community that walk around the park every day for medical reasons. And I spoke to the park director, and 2 accident or 3, the cars have come off of the 135th East and West going on 135th, jumped on the curb and barely missed some of these people. It's just a matter of time someone is going to be killed. I've been living in the city for quite some time, and we requested and requested and requested an inside track so they can get off that walking around the park. And I would like, if there's some way, I know if you can find money for a dog park, that maybe possibly you can find enough money to put a track, something similar to what's that, if you, a picture, North Miami Senior High School, just a track and a couple of those stationary machines like they have down at Gwen Cherry Park and around the city and all over now. So that's what I'm asking for at this particular time, that we would really appreciate it if by some means that you can find enough money to get the elderly people from around that perimeter of that park. And not only that, you know, it's not only our citizens, it's Dade County, they come from, and they utilize that 7 days a week. You can go out there and you can see someone walking around the park. They feel like it's a very safe area. Since the cameras have come in, thank the councilwoman there, the cameras are there, so the cars are not being broken into. So we would just appreciate it if you can just find that money in this budget for us. Thank you.
Okay, and Mr. Sid, and if you can
I
add
made a
all
note
the requests, and
I am.
because I use the park also, and I was asking myself,
Correct.
if we cannot have a track, can
Yes.
at least we put inside sidewalks
Yeah.
Thank you.
throughout the,
Previously, we were looking at, due to the cost of putting the concrete track, we were looking at just putting in an asphalt track inside with Nautilus equipment. We are still trying to look at pricing to see how much it's going to cost.
Okay.
okay,
Thank
thank you
you.
very much. Public hearing is open on the budget. Tab B.
Kenneth East, 776 Northeast 125th. I didn't get to look at the, I just, speaking to the city manager, hope we're going to add a couple of more minimum housing officers or code enforcement officers.
Potentially, we're looking at two additional.
2 additional. I would think this is very important since we're all worried about the cleanliness and the neatness of our city. You know, we have a reputation for not being the nicest looking city, but we are on the road to progress, and I think that would be a very, very important thing. Where the rubber meets the road, we don't need any more executives. We need people out there to take care of the basics. Thank you.
Thank you. And regarding that, Mr. City Manager, I don't know if I have to intervene.
Sure.
I think we should have a workshop about the reorganization of your code enforcement and the building department, since throughout the election, before it was the water bill,
Correct.
and I think now, and everything people are talking about, it's code enforcement, and the building department. I went to Miami-Dade League of Cities, and the mayor from Balabo came to me. He said, man, I can't imagine I have to spend 3 hours inside your building department.
Yeah.
That's the 2 big major department that need real reorganization, and I think we should have a workshop about that since we've been
We started already.
talking a lot about
Internally,
it.
we started already. Code enforcement has fallen under a certain section or division of.
No, we will talk about
okay.
reorganization. I just mentioned that. And public hearing still open on the budget. Public hearing still open on the budget. Mike, nothing? Public hearing is open on the budget.
How you doing, everybody? I'm Stephen Holmes. I'm new to North Miami. I live
Can
in
can
the
can you, can you
Can
say
you hear
your
me?
address, please?
195 Northeast 127th Street in the Breeze Swept community, and I've signed up. I've submitted a petition already to have traffic calming devices installed from Northeast 2nd Avenue from 125th to 135th. I have a corner unit. We get a bunch of traffic, a lot of speeding. So if you guys can find some funds in the budget to implement those speed humps or perhaps more stop signs, that would be greatly appreciated.
I know about it. I live in the area, and I think 2nd Avenue Northeast, it's a county road,
Yes.
and I'm planning to have a meeting with the commissioner, Commissioner Jean-Monnet Sim, to see if the county can spend some money on not only the street, but also the swells, and we're working on that.
Right. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much.
Good evening. My name is Nadine Goose. I'm here on behalf of North Miami Adult Education. We would like to thank the committee for the grant that was awarded for the student last year in the amount of $50,000. And this year, you know, we would like to see if there's a way in the budget, you know, they could increase it a little bit more, because it was awarded like $400 per student, but we would like to see if they could allocate $1,000 per student. It will make a world difference. And so far, you know, we have made a big difference in the life of the students, because we do believe in education. So tonight we have some of the students down here, you know, that are with us, and they would like you to thank everyone. And
But I have a question.
yes,
And how much from that money that was allocated for that you spent?
we still have some money left, but at this present time, we're still doing registration till the 18th of September. So whatever is left, you know, will be used.
No, and the problem is every time money is allocated for something, if you don't spend the whole amount, that's when you cannot come and ask for more. Since last year you did not spend the full amount, that's the problem, I
if
think,
I-
about
I do
your
understand.
request.
Yes,
I
I
talked to Mr. Redore today or throughout the week. Yeah, it's open. I think because I did share my concern, because I told him that as government, if we give you money, if you don't spend the entire fund, we were going to have to request it, and we cannot actually allocate the same amount. But the issue that he explained to me, administratively, we told them that they can only spend $400 per student, while the school actually built some of them 2,000s or 4,000s. So the amount that we actually give to the student is not compatible with the amount of money that they actually spend. So what Madam Goose is asking is that instead of giving $400 per student, we can actually allocate $1,000. I think that can actually talk to administration, and then they can bring it back to us to see
Okay.
how you guys can actually
Okay,
better use
it's
the
not
money.
asking for more money in the budget, but it's
It's to
asking more
reallocate.
money
to
per
react.
student.
Yes.
Okay, this is gotta be to the city
Administration.
manager and the administration.
Okay.
Yeah.
You're gonna have
Okay.
to speak to them about it.
Thank you.
Okay?
Thank you.
Thank you
Thanks a
very
lot.
much.
Guidelines for the program.
Public hearing,
Yeah, we have to bring it back.
public hearing is open on the budget.
Good evening. My name is Alexandra Barbeau. I'm the Executive Director of the Haitian American Historical Museum. I come here to speak on behalf of the board of the Haitian American Historical Society, which is well known for the Haitian Monument in Savannah, Georgia. We moved in the lovely city of North Miami in 2011, and we have been operating with no support from the city since 2011. And this is the first time that we are requesting to be included in the budget. We have made a proposal for some funds, and we have been very successful in working with the school board. For the month of May, we had over 500 children. We also we are members with the Greater Miami Convention Bureau, and we intend to work with the diverse communities to bring economic development, education, and a better knowledge of our common history. And we are hoping that the Honorable Mayor and Council members will support our proposition.
But, and you know the budget, we have the budget now.
Yes.
Are they in the budget?
No, sir.
And I'm not aware of any proposal of any plan and
I didn't receive any proposal from
that's mean it's
myself. I didn't receive.
that's the problem.
How much?
Because when we put in the budget together throughout the year, right now it's like we have the budget ready to go, and that's
Yes.
when you
That's-
come and request money, and I don't know what the council gonna say about it, but I
Yes.
didn't know about it, and I don't think it's in the budget, and I don't know if the council.
Yes, we are well known for our monument that we built in Savannah, and we were on our way to Savannah when I brought
No,
the
we understand
proposal.
that. Okay.
I brought it Thursday evening, but it was addressed to each council members, and that's probably why they
But
have.
you know, when we're working on the budget, it's 3, 4, 5 months prior
Okay.
to today.
It's our first time, so
Okay.
we're very sorry about that, but this is a request for $75,000.
Okay.
I know that you guys have a good relationship with Mocha.
Yes,
Have you way back then?
yes.
Do you guys actually working in? How's the relationship right now? Because I would like to see that you guys do. I know about the monument from Savannah. I know that you guys actually relocate yourself to the city, and I see the work that you guys have been done. But the thing is, we have not seen the participation or the relationship between your museum, for lack of, I don't remember the name, the Haitian Historical.
Museum and
Museum.
archive.
So with Mocha, have you
Yes.
guys sitting with Babacar to see how you guys can?
Well,
Work.
we have to say that we did not finish renovating the building until August of this year, although we moved in 2011. We work with the CRA that sponsored $25,000 of our renovation of the building. And we only opened in August of 2013.
Okay.
He's
And
our chairman, Mr. Fizin.
Daniel Fizime, chairman of the Haitian American Historical Society. We've been here for the past 2 years. We never get any help from the city, not even seed money. And you were there when we started operation for the inauguration. We never get a penny from the city. We've been spending our own money, and we bring in economic development for the city. And it's about, we would like to request first time to have some seed money so we can stay on operation.
no, we understand. The only
Yes.
thing I said, I was not aware of that, and I don't have any requests. They didn't bring any requests to my attention. And usually, when we put in a budget together, it's 3, 4, 5 months prior to today.
You
And that's
understand,
why-
but the only person that answered back to us was Concealment Scott Galvin.
I never got anything.
Yeah, but he submitted everything to, who did you meet? Who submitted it to?
Maybe she
I
give
brought
it to.
and the
Okay,
You
Scott,
give
your
it-
show.
Okay, okay, okay.
Go ahead, Scott.
He received, he received.
What happened?
Okay.
That's the only person that's.
So don't
proved to
worry.
you. Okay.
Scott receive it, he'll take care of it. Don't worry about it.
Okay, I did not receive it. Okay.
So
Yeah,
we want
we'll
to thank
support
you.
him.
Yes, we
Don't
want to
worry.
thank you to, for, the.
Okay.
You're good. Scott got it. I'll support Scott.
Thank you.
Good. Let's
And
start.
public hearing is open on the budget.
Yes, good evening, everyone. William Previtel, 11950 North Bay Shore Drive. I'm going to repeat a request that's come through the Planning Commission, and it's been also discussed at some of the meetings of the Downtown Committee, and that is streetscape and plantings and such. I'd like to see our efforts ramped up in this, toward this end. We've talked a lot about improving individual properties and privatized improvements and facade plans and such. Yet, if we were to increase the landscaping, the treescape throughout the city, I think we would greatly improve the values of the individual neighborhoods and the city itself. Sometimes we can drive by a neighborhood and you come apart at an area that's sort of barren. There are no street trees. Sometimes the homes do not have any landscaping. And I think all of us get that sense of devaluation, that it's a challenged neighborhood. Now, we may not be able to landscape everybody's individual house, but certainly we could do something with the City of North Miami property at the sidewalks where we could plant as much as possible. This goes for every district in the city, and it's, should go where
Especially mine.
as needed, particularly yours, okay? And anyone where there are these stretches without landscaping. And if we do it early, if we put this investment in now, it starts to pay off greatly as the years go on. We can buy inexpensive small trees now. They grow into large trees that become great value to the neighborhood. And I think it fosters a better sense of
That's when
community.
we'd like to see more trees.
Exactly. And to that end, this is not throwing tens of millions of dollars in. We're talking about maybe a few $100,000 at a time. And it doesn't have to go on forever. If we get these trees in place now, these saplings, they will grow into larger, nicer
It's a lot
trees
of
that
money
pay greatly.
because I spoke to Mr. Pierre Louis, the Public Works Director, and I was requesting a quote about trees, and he told me it's about $300-400 per tree. It's
Not
a lot
all.
of money.
Yeah.
Not all.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's been Mr. City Manager and
Live oaks about 10 to 12 foot tall, run us about
Okay.
$250 to $300.
but you can put a note on the request. It's like you need more trees, and I even request
have it
that,
down.
and I even asked Public Works Director to put that on his budget because I would like to see more trees in my district.
And to fill in wherever
And I
these
s-
barren spots are throughout the entire city. Just as one more note, it's not necessarily tangent to this budget, but for the individual homes, in regards to plantings, for individual homes, maybe the city could foster a certain day of the month or a certain weekend and make an arrangement with a wholesale planting organization to bring in a truckload. We get either city employees or Boy Scouts or something like that to say, we're going to sell wholesale plants to people of North Miami that have a North Miami ID. You want to improve your property? We'll help you do it. We get to bring the things in bulk at a discount. They get to take advantage of that. Everybody wins.
Thank
So
you.
just a thought. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. And I hope Natasha take notes
Natasha?
and to see if there is any grant available for trees.
Yeah.
Well,
I asked that.
If I can jump in, Commissioner Monesteem is giving away trees this weekend at the Miami-Dade North campus. The internet is slow today, so I'm trying to pull up my email from him.
Yeah.
But the county has a program that already exists that's giving away thousands of trees this weekend.
That's
I think it's Saturday at the Miami-Dade North, so contact
that's
Commissioner
been and
Monesteem.
Natasha, please. Yes.
Good evening. Name and address, right?
No.
Name and
No?
address.
Do I have to give name and address tonight? Okay, Kevin Burns, 2065 Alameda Drive. Continuing on the conversation or the item that you mentioned, Mr. Bellarmine, is that the building department, and I'm glad that some people are listening to the conversations that are taking place during the campaign. Our building department is one of the worst operated or functioning ones that we have. And the complaints that many people in this city have voiced. I believe that the city manager could do a better job taking the services that are provided back in-house like it used to be. You're allocating $700,000 to the outside private contractor, $700,000 plus 70%, 70 cents on the dollar of the fee of the permits, I understand, 70 cents on the dollar, or yeah, 70 cents on the dollar goes to that company, I think it's CAM or whatever it is. $700,000 to do the plan reviews and so forth according to what was in the budget. That could pay for 5, 6 in-house people. It's not unusual to have your plans lost over there. It's not unusual to have the different information depending on which inspector you're dealing with. So I think your suggestion of a workshop is actually very critical to how you want this city to grow in the future. It's very important because that generates, and always has for years, a large sum of money for the city. It also operated in the black, and it added to our revenue. And since it has been privatized, it has not been functioning that well. Also, as part of the permitting process, we pay an extra fee that's called a, I think it's written in there as a training fee, educational fee, small dollar amount, and I understand there's about $30,000, $40,000 in this fund to train employees within the department and help continue their education. I haven't found that in the budget anywhere, but it's a fee that we collect. So if you can see if we're going to collect a fee that's supposed to train employees, let's spend it on them. If it's not, quit collecting the fees from the residents. I don't understand it 100%, but I know when we were pulling some permits that the fee was there.
Okay, and
thank you very much.
And Mr. City Manager, and you know, building department, and
Yeah,
I told you since day one, you don't even have to answer Mr. Burns because it's the whole department. It's a mess, and I think you need to fix it and fix it quick. And you know, there is no way we're gonna have a building department like that. You're talking about the downtown. People are gonna pull big permits, and how can you have a building department with a new development like Biscayne Landing, downtown, and all that? And Mr. Burns talk about the outside, yeah. And how you call that?
It's a training and technology fee that is added onto your permit. Last fiscal year, we had approximately $7,000 that was collected, and it is used for training of staff in the building department.
Okay. No, what I was referring to, it's you outsources some of the service.
Right.
Did you imagine when Biscayne Landing gonna start pulling permit, $1 million permit, 700,000 gonna go to them out of that money? That's bring it to the house will be a better idea. Sure. Public hearing still open on the budget. Public hearing is open on the budget. Public hearing is open on the budget. Mike.
I have the key.
Public hearing is closed on the budget.
See?
Now, council members. First, we're gonna start with Councilwoman Carol Keys.
Thank you. I have gone through this, and I have spent time with Arthur and made a lot of comments. I don't know if the minor changes have been made. Few typos, few dollars and cents. I did shave down about between $20,000 and $25,000 on miscellaneous items. I'm not going to go over those right now, just money didn't belong. But I do have a few key topics I'd like to just put on the record. One, I know that we have taken away our security contract for the front desk. We have 3 PSA, public service aides. I would like to see if we either use one of those or add one more. I'd like to see a public service aide do a beat from our municipal plaza, from the police department, walking, visible, walking through by Mocha, walking into the city hall instead of a security guard during the day, going up and down the elevators, going up the stairs, just making a presence so people do feel safe. And instead of paying 100,000, what was it, 100 or 150,000 for a security company, I'd rather see a couple of our own officers just being visible, walking the area.
You're gonna pull them out of the streets to put them.
I'm saying instead of spending 150,000 on a security company for one man sitting at a desk downstairs, I'd rather spend 30, 40,000 on an aide to be walking the entire municipal area.
Okay.
They'll save a lot of money. Just a recommendation. I think having a presence of an officer walking the municipal complex is nice. And he could, and if there was a need, he could always be put on the street or allocated or assigned somewhere else.
What about if we put like a secretary down there, and then the aide still gonna, instead of putting a guard?
But we're talking a security guard in a uniform.
Oh, in uniform.
You know, I'd like to see a
Okay.
uniformed person walking the municipal conference back and forth around the parking lot, just visible.
What about
That's-
inside?
Well, they would be coming into City Hall, walking up and down the stairs, just
But are you thinking about putting an aide downstairs instead of a
not
guard?
sitting there. No, not someone sitting there at the front door saying, hi, just.
I'm not talking about a security. I'm talking about maybe a civilian, a secretary downstairs.
But what we can
so it's
discuss
customer
it.
service, but we already have that at the window.
Yeah, but when
I
the
just think
windows, when the window is too small for the amount of
I just
people
think the
coming in.
visibility, knowing that
Okay.
there is a police officer walking our municipal complex, walking by Mocha for security
I'll look-
in the parking lot, it's just a suggestion.
I'll look
Okay.
into it.
Okay.
Okay, you see, okay.
Okay, forensic audit we took care of, we've allocated the 200,000. Mocha Legal, we're comfortable that we will not be having any extraordinary legal expenses in the upcoming year.
That is correct. We anticipate that the issue will be resolved before the end of the year.
We have next we have an IRS review coming up. We haven't allocated for any possible penalties, which could range from $0 to several $100,000, from what I'm understanding. And where are we going to get any penalties that were assessed? Because we have not allocated for that.
I don't think we should allocate any money for just.
Just
No.
putting on the record that we may have.
Okay. She want us to put that on the record, then that's.
Yeah.
Okay.
That we do understand there is a potential expense.
Whatever it is, as responsible council, we will address that
Okay.
when the time comes.
Thank you. Library, books. We haven't for years, and there was money allocated before, but our allocation for books for reference, subscriptions, non-print ebooks is 0, 0, 0. Why don't we, where are we getting money for our books for our library?
Do you have a grant or something?
Do you have anything in the budget
0,
for books?
0.
I believe that,
Yes, I believe.
Page
Do you
121.
Okay, there's nothing, okay. Do you have any grants money coming in for books?
Well, at this time, the way we have been able to purchase some materials for the library, whatever money we have left over from state aid, which we get to operate the library on Sundays, we're able to purchase minimal amount of books for the library. And
But
that's
when
how it is.
when we were putting the budget together, you didn't make any requests to budget that you need books for library, didn't you?
we do get requests from departments. But we have been using some state aid money and some of the old EMA-AVIL money also to buy books when necessary.
How much money you talking
I'm
about?
not sure how much is left at EMA-AVIL at the moment. Well, I could tell you, but I don't have it.
You have
right
a
in front of me.
suggestions about?
I have no money, this is just something I came up with when I was speaking with Arthur, I guess Monday, and I realized I'm looking, there's no money for, I'm looking to cut money, but I'm looking again and I see there's no allocation for books. And I spoke to the manager and said, oh, we have ebooks. Well, there's no money for ebooks. And we may not want the hard print, and I don't know I have no idea what the number is, but I think we should think about it, and if we've got some money to allocate, our
But yeah,
librarian should.
If you make a proposal, they can.
I don't have a number. I'm just saying there's nothing in here for books for our citizens.
We will work with the library department and determine how much is needed. It'll be a fair amount for books, and we'll bring it back to the council the next year.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we discussed this last evening. Nothing we can discuss this evening, but I do want to put it out there that our water rate study is coming up and will be available next week. And there may be a large amount that needs to be set aside to help the citizens, taxpayers with second water meters. And we have no idea what that amount is, but it's something that will have to be addressed, hopefully before next Monday. If not, I guess we, as Councilman Galvin recommended, we're going to have to amend our budget, if everybody agrees to help.
It's not gonna come from your enterprise fund?
Yeah, it will come from the water and sewer, as
Okay.
mentioned by the budget director.
Yeah.
There is an allocation in there.
They have allocation for it in
From
the
the
enterprise
utility,
fund
it's,
from
it's,
utility.
it's from the utility, yes.
One thing I did notice we haven't changed, and it's about an $8,000 item. We have allocated 12 months for mayor's expenses and salary, and I think we are only going to have this year 10 and a half months worth of expenses for the mayor.
What?
We're
For meals?
Yeah, okay. I think what she's saying is that the mayor will effectively be in position from November.
Mid-November.
So there's a savings of about a month and a half salary, a salary savings of a month and a half.
For who?
For the elected mayor's position.
Okay.
Oh.
We're going to have a month and a half savings because we're still
Oh,
short
okay.
one elected official. So there's a month and a half of money in there that we don't need to
We
allocate
found the
for.
money for your library books.
Right.
I'm getting ready to suggest a whole lot more than that.
Okay.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Going through, I don't have anything although I did speak specifically. I think our travel and conferences is way high. I think between the different departments and council, there's a lot of money budgeted for a lot of conferences that we don't really need to budget for. So I'm just going to bring that out.
Yeah, the administration can look at it and see.
I mean, just,
if
we've got conferences and conferences and conferences, and we just do not need to go to all of these, and we don't need staff to attend all these conferences.
That's when you can take money there for books.
Well, oh, we're gonna have a lot of books. Okay, I was gonna bring up, but I will, be redundant, licenses and permits. We're projecting $1,280,000 in permits this year, and our outsourced cap management is getting $700,000. I can't imagine that a company needs $700,000 to process the permits that we have in-house. I think and I haven't gone through the employees and all this. I know that our budget needs a serious overhaul. We do need a qualified building director. We no longer have a building director. We do need one with the proper licenses. Correct. We did make money. We did have a good permitting department. We did make money, and outsourcing this type of work when we have Biscayne Landing with millions and millions of building permits coming on board, it's just crazy to be giving 70% of all permit fees away.
If I can share that with you, I spoke to Mr. Alim Ghani about it, and he showed me put together a plan and step by step to hire the right and licensed permit person and to do that in-house. And Now we have the RFQ for the
The-
building
the
official.
building official position is actually posted, and
And there you're gonna need the plumber and all those certified agents then to bring everything in house, then we can save money.
Yes, Mr. Ghani, I think, is very capable of putting our building department back together, which then ties in with code enforcement, and I've been meeting with code enforcement, building, and the police department, and the police says it's code, and building says it's police. So I've been pushing, along with, I'm sure, all the other council, to get a cohesive code enforcement
Yeah.
department and the adequate amount of building inspectors. We've lost a lot of people during the last ERIP, so we have, you know,
We have too
building
many people,
inspectors.
too many code enforcement outside, and we don't know what they're doing.
They have to talk to
Sanitation,
each
we
other.
have.
They have to all
And
get together.
everything
Is
was
those
brought
two
under one
departments
umbrella.
and
I mean, there's-
Under the umbrella of the.
you need
the
to
code.
fix those two departments.
I am fixing them right now.
I mean, there's a code enforcement allocation in Public Works. Doesn't belong there, it needs, but I've spoken to Mr. Ghani, but it doesn't belong there, it needs to go with a code enforcement team. We had a lot of constituents here for the dog park. I think we've handled it, thank you, Councilman Galvin, has allocated 25,000 of construction, I understand, towards helping us do a dog park in North Bay Shore. People have been asking for that for a long time, so I know that's in the works. If we can do a dog park anywhere else in the city, great. I don't know where maybe someplace we have more land, where we have more room, where we could do that also. You've allocated 300,000 to the Biscayne Landing maintenance. I know that contract is coming up. I have spoken to Mr. Ghani over the past year, and I believe that we can do it in-house for a lot less. I'm not trying to do away with it, but I think 300,000 is a lot for that item. I think we do need to budget for it, but I think we could budget for it maybe around 150 or 200,000 max. And lastly, that I have made a request I have been asking for a long time. It's not a popular subject, but I would like to see our Board of Adjustment agendas, our planning agendas, and our council agendas published in the Miami Herald. I don't care where else you publish them. I do not believe that too many people subscribe to a $350 annual Biscayne daily business review. People are not seeing that. People don't automatically get online or have to wait to see that. And I know that it is the minimum requirement that we post these items, agendas, in the daily business review. But I think as a council person, I have the ability and the right to give more to the constituents and taxpayers and request that we spend a little extra money and advertise. I've really been pushing for years transparency. People want to know what's going on. I think we took it out because we didn't want people to know what's going on. And I would really like to see money for the Miami Herald. And I spoke to Mr. Sori, and the Board of Adjustment publications is not even, there's not even a line item for it. I know it needs to go in there.
When it comes to the publication, I think the city manager and the budget department can find out, see how much it's gonna cost, maybe at our next budget hearing, and then you can bring it up, and
Yeah,
we can decide
I've
whether or
asked-
not we wanna publish in anything on that.
I've asked for those numbers, but I think our citizens want it and deserve it, and they deserve
Okay,
more
Miss-
than the bare minimum legal requirement.
Just
Okay.
for clarification, the Board of Adjustments, Planning Commission, and City Council agendas, those are the three?
Just for the record,
Give me a second. I'm gonna give. I know.
Okay.
Yeah, you were gonna say
The
something.
Board of Adjustments, Planning Commission, and City Council agendas, are those the three? Okay.
That's what people want to know, what's going on, what kind
Okay.
of variances are giving next door to them, across the street, what are they planning? They're planning on rezoning a piece of property across from them.
Okay.
People have no idea.
Okay. You were gonna say something.
Yeah, I'm not, that's something different from our publication. I am not requesting an increase in my budget, because within our budget, we have 6 primary vendors: La Ponderosa, Spanish Radio, 1170 Caribbean English, the Bishop Curry Station, WMBA, which is a highly prominent African American radio station, WLQY 1320, and Radio Mega, and the Daily Business Review. What I'm required to do by charter, which is publish the council notices, I'm not requesting a budget increase.
We
at
know
all.
that.
Okay,
We
so
understand
just
that.
her increase was for something else. But
No, it's
from
the
our
council.
standpoint-
We
I
always.
understand. And I just want to make it clear that my department is not requesting an increase. I think our budget is perfect. So if you guys have to increase elsewhere, that's fine. But us, we're good. So you guys don't have to give me more money. That's what I'm saying.
We're not talking about you.
Okay.
That's why I addressed the city manager,
Thank you, Mayor.
not the
Thank
clerk
you, Mayor.
department.
Okay.
And
I made a note of all the
yeah, and find out and see exactly how much it's gonna cost in order to and see how much it is. And
That's it for now.
now, Councilman Scott Galvin.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'll try to blow through this quickly. First, to the presentation made by Mr. Sora, you mentioned that pension costs are up by 1 million. Can you explain in layman's term what that means?
Basically, there are assumptions in the pension. Our pension is with, we have actuaries that takes care of the pension. And it did go up by $1 million this year.
Okay.
Last
We're
year.
talking about, do you mean it's going to be up by $1 million in fiscal 2014-15?
Yes,
I'm-
sir.
Okay.
In 2014, 15.
So we're going to pay $1 million more into pensions in the coming budget year.
Yes, sir.
Why?
The reason given by the actuary was a couple. It was the lump sum payout that we did do in 2012.
Is that the ERIP?
No.
Not the ERIP. No, this
Okay.
has nothing to do with the ERIP. The lump sum payout, when we did, we received the money from Biscayne Landing. We paid out approximately about $1.1 million for employees who had been taking furlough days for the years. Remember, we did the furlough day payback.
Okay, we
lump
made
sum
people
payback.
whole again. So,
We
okay.
made people whole again. Well, the pension, the actuaries, they took that as a increase. They said we gave raises.
Okay, but we didn't give a raise. It was a one-time.
That's
payout.
what we said. It was a one-time payment. They looked at it as a raise, that we gave employees raises.
Okay.
And that was the major contributing factor.
So the actuary says we have to pay $1 million more in the next year for something we didn't do.
Yeah, that's my argument as well, yes.
Okay, so how do we back you up on your argument? Because if we just gave somebody a bonus, essentially, not a raise,
It
and the
should've counted
actuary
against
is
the pension
is
costs.
incorrect. I mean, they didn't that raise is not there this year. It was that one time. So how do we fix that? That's $1 million.
At the next budget hearing, I'll have the actuary and the pension administrator here.
Can I piggyback on that, Scott?
Absolutely.
So the 3 furlough days that we're giving back, is that will contribute?
No,
as-
this was back in 2012. We actually paid everybody for 2 years' worth of furlough days. What we're doing, the 3 furlough days going forward next year, we're just taking the staff won't have to take furlough days. We're not giving a raise or anything. We're just taking away the furlough days they won't have to take.
Okay, but the.
You give them a
the-
2% COLA also.
Well, we give them 2%.
Yeah, but
COLA.
the. Do you guys, because I'm getting to understand that you really, administration never talked to the pension board regarding that, but did you guys actually address that now? Because furlough days translate as money.
That's correct.
So we are giving them more money, which will translate as
Which will do have a pension increase. That's
as an
correct.
increase. So we
Right.
will have a pension increase. Is that
That's-
part of the 1 million, or is that another additional money that you guys have not taken into account?
If it is part of it, then no, it wouldn't be. That won't be recognized until the following year. Pension numbers are
What, 15,
always
16?
Yes, pension
Yeah.
numbers are always a year in the back.
1 year behind.
Pension numbers are always, they go off of the numbers from the year prior. So
that's
we're a year behind on the pension numbers. And that's just how it happens. So you won't see it this year. You'll see it the following year.
Correct.
So to me, that's significant if we're able to bring the actuary into our
Sure.
world and get them to say, okay, you don't have those pension costs. That's $1 million we just saved.
And I did ask those questions of the actuary, and the response that I was given, although I know the weight of the council will be more than mine, but the response was that they've already made pension assumptions off of that. ERIP people have left, and their pension is based on that. So they're saying that some people that have already left, because I asked them, why couldn't they just, I said I didn't agree with it, why couldn't you reverse it? And they said, well, it's already, people have already taken pensions based on that.
Yeah, but that's not our mistake, that's
That's
their
not-
mistake.
Yeah,
I
that's
agree.
their assumption. They're crediting that as a pay
But I'm
raise.
city
It's not a
attorney.
pay raise. It's a bonus, and that is a significant difference.
Maybe the attorney should clarify it for us.
Clarify in terms of,
Are we in our legal rights not wanting to pay the pension regarding of the bonus, or are they in their rights to charge us as a raise?
yeah, we have to meet with them and I figure it out the best way to address it. I
So
couldn't give you an answer right
Probably have
now.
$1 million somewhere that we can actually
Yeah.
allocate back to the budget.
Yeah, that's a lot of things we could do. On the water rate, I know the study is not prepared and finalized yet, but do we have any insight at all into what it's going to tell us? Are we totally blind right now, or do you have some sort of hint as to what it's,
Look like.
what it might look like?
We are totally blind. I spoke to the consultant this afternoon. I actually spoke to him around 5 o'clock today. The draft report that I mentioned last night will be here in the city on the 18th of September. So by the second budget hearing, we will definitely have the numbers that you will be looking at.
Okay, one of my biggest issues as well as the councilwoman's is the second water meter charge. And whatever financial impact, I'm gonna say, let's just make this number up right now. It's gonna be $50,000 to switch charges back. It's gonna impact it. But I want us to know if there's 50,000 that we wanna switch around, where it would come from. If that's from enterprise, if that's from utility, okay, but just as long as we're able to identify it. So if on the second budget night, if we want to make changes to put our billing rates back to what they used to be, that we know where that's coming from on that second budget night, so that we're not caught off guard.
That would be on the utility fund, and there's a line item budgeted in there to take into consideration any credits that would be given based on direction from the council.
Okay, thank you. We've got a lot of money set aside for capital projects, and I applaud that. I think that's good. Sidewalks, landscaping, and the like are always good things. Are your proposals tonight district specific, or are they sort of open-ended? In other words, if in 6 months I want to pave 5 sidewalks in District 1, will that kind of money be there, or are we approving district-specific capital improvement
District 3
projects?
only.
Right. Well,
No,
that's-
that's-
Listen, seriously, you are the acting mayor, not a district, so you should represent all of us.
No, I'm just
But,
joking.
and look, I gave District 1 money to
Yeah, you
District 2 to do the dog park, because the people in District 1 wanted as much as, I've lived here my whole life. I'm not so much about districts. I just want to
No.
make sure that I don't pigeonhole myself by voting for a budget that then when I want it for my district, we go, well, I know there's $2 million for capital improvements in the budget, but they're for everybody else but you.
Yeah, but let me say something, Councilman Scott Galvin. Capital improvement, it's a very, very important issue for me. And I've been driving throughout the District 3, and people are telling me we have streets that have not been paving for the past 27 years. That's mean it's very, very important for me. That's why I asked budget, I asked the city manager to make sure we have money for capital improvement throughout the city.
Yeah.
It's throughout the city. It's not for my district.
Right.
It's the 700,000 is throughout the city of North Miami.
Okay.
District 1, District 2, District 3, District 4.
Really?
And that's all I can ask. I just
No,
want to make
sir.
sure. even if-
But when you say 6 months from now, but if District 1 have project for 600,000-700,000, and by October all the studies have been
gone,
done. It's,
right.
yeah, but it's throughout the city.
Right.
It's not for one district.
Sure. No,
Yeah.
that's all I can ask. I just wanted to ask.
It's
that.
like last year we had 700,000 for capital improvement.
And you take it
we
all.
spent
No, you didn't.
I take 181,000 for sidewalks, and Councilwoman Carol Keys took 200,000, and you took the rest. You and Councilman Scott Galvin. That's
Correct.
when we didn't take the
I wanna
right.
be a good
Right.
resident.
And
Yeah,
I just
we-
want to
we-
mention
Not good
one
spot.
thing. You know, capital improvements per districts is fine, but you got to understand when you're doing infrastructure improvements, sidewalks, Northeast Fifth Avenue in your district, which we rode several times, the whole thing.
Northeast.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sixth
Northwest,
Avenue.
sorry, Northwest Fifth Avenue. All those sidewalks needs to be replaced. Councilwoman Keys districts along Keystone Boulevard, again, as the Public Works Director and myself meet, I think we will prioritize the areas that require the improvements. It doesn't matter what
it's
district.
the city. And there's a flooded area. I don't know which district it is.
Your
By LA Fitness,
Oh.
Fitness and Casamia.
Correct.
And any small 1 inch of rain and flood that area, and that's a big flooded area. And I was passing by, and even the plaza, the Arcade Plaza, where you have you have Walgreens and that Denny's, that's need to be addressed. And
Okay.
it's not just a district; it's
Correct.
throughout
And
the
that's
city.
what I was-
and
that's the
we
point
don't
I'm
have
trying
any
to make.
we don't have any problem when I'm driving.
We will prioritize based on the needs as the Public Works Director and myself see fit.
As long all the money does not go to District 3, we
And
fine.
the money will
we
t-
just
we-
fighting against District 3.
And I will
So,
try
we
to
try to
allocate the
boycott
money,
District 3
you know,
right now.
but I will try to prioritize as well. Again, some of the bridges, we need to address those in Keystone. Every year, FDOT does the inspection of the bridges. Those are critical items that must be addressed. Those would be landlocked parcels if we don't address it. So all of these is allocations that will be coming out of that to address some of those capital needs.
What about the bridge at how you call it?
125th
Arch Creek East.
Yeah, that is
Is
complete.
done. That
Yes.
project is
Oh,
done
but-
in the back.
Yes.
Okay.
Mr. Mayor, but it is, well, I think that we're still stealing some Scott. Let me wait for Scott to finish because
Yeah,
Pepper
okay,
Park I
go
have
ahead.
not heard about.
All right, I'll be quick.
Sure.
On furlough days, I realize we're only down to 3, but I have a personal request. Don't mix them in with existing 3-day weekends so that staff gets a 4-day weekend. I know that's nice for staff, but it creates absolute chaos for the residents and the businesses who can't do business at the city. And if possible, stagger them so that some departments are open, some departments are closed, but it's not a city hall, citywide shutdown. Especially this last, I think it was Labor Day weekend.
Labor Day weekend.
I must have gotten 20 phone calls at home over the weekend from people who showed up here to pay water bills, to get their business tax receipts, et cetera, and City Hall was just unexpectedly closed. So I'm glad we're only down to 3 furlough days, but if we can, please stagger them, make them a random Wednesday. I know that staff loves that 4-day weekend, but hey, we made you whole for the rest of them anyway.
It was discussed with budget today, actually, and we did say that what we're gonna do is, we can make it flexible, where certain departments will have it, and certain departments, it all depends. But City Hall and all major department that receives money will be open.
Okay, thank you. On the privatization of our building inspections, that contract with CAP, sorry. How much longer is there? Only maybe a year with that contract?
I think it's one more year. 2012.
2015.
Okay.
Yes, one more year.
So we're legally bound to work with them for the next year?
There's always a termination.
Yeah, most, if not all of our contracts have a early termination clause without penalties. Let me look at the agreement.
Okay.
and we can ensure that you
I
have
No,
that.
but
I believe
before
we
we
have
do
an
that-
early termination.
Yeah.
Yeah, but before we do that, we have to, I was talking to you about it, and you
Yeah.
said there is some steps
Right,
that need to
hiring,
be taken
hiring
before.
a building inspectors, the building inspectors, the plumbing inspectors, and all of that must be done prior to doing away with the contract.
Yeah, I have to say Fritz Orman, who only worked for us a little while, but whom I had great respect for and was so sorry to see him leave. One of the exit interview things that he shared with me is that he said, Scott, we are killing ourselves with this privatization of the building inspections. We need to bring that back in-house. And like Councilwoman Keys just said, if we're giving away 700,000 out of 1.2 million to a private business for work we could be doing in-house, again, that's an amazing amount of money, and that's only gonna go up right now because we're finally doing stuff downtown. We're finally gonna see stuff happening in Biscayne Landing. And,
Did you imagine
and-
one permit for $1 million? They get 700,000
Crazy.
plus
right,
inspection fee, and
yeah.
Right. The roadway for Biscayne Landings alone is over $5 million, so.
Yeah. So I'm in favor of bringing that back in-house. In fact, I voted against the privatization two years ago, so I'm not any different than I was then. Outside legal. I'm incredibly frustrated with the lack of progress in the MOCA negotiations. I'm ready to go back to court.
Can we discuss, because it's a pending litigation matter, can we discuss this in an executive session? Rather than
Or you
discussing-
can help me get Judge Farina back on the phone again, because like I said to him 2 weeks ago, our next council meeting is September 9th. If there's no progress by September 9th, I'm ready to go nuclear. So I'm ready to go.
I would
You
caution
cannot
us
discuss it up
to
here.
Okay, I'm not gonna say
have
anything
that
more about that.
discussion.
Okay.
But
Right.
I'd like to take $100,000 out of the $300,000 we have for the Biscayne Landing management contract and redirect it to
We-
outside council expenses. So that's gonna be something I'm gonna be looking for 3 votes tonight.
how much money do you have for outside counsel for this year?
88,000.
88,000, thank you.
You
So
have
I'm
88.
essentially looking to immediately double your outside council budget for any purpose that might come along. I'd also like to take another 50,000 from the Biscayne Landing management contract and reallocate that to the library for books, DVDs, and any other sort of publication they might feel the need that they're good for. A library has to be a good resource material location. My mom is thrilled. She's going through a phase with the Broward County Library System where she's going and checking out books, and she's like, did you know you can get what do you call it, tablet books, and you can download them, and you can get DVDs, and you can we need to make sure we're doing all this money with the facility, and if the building looks pretty and it's got nice furniture, that's one thing, but there has to be something that's going to bring people in. So I'd like to suggest $50,000 for publications, whether they be electronic or hard copy.
So that's 50,000 for the library, DVDs, ebooks, etc.
Correct.
And 100,000 towards outside legal counsel, which is right now budgeted at $84,488.
Correct. I'd like to ask for an additional $30,000 for Keystone Park improvements. The fences that surround it are old and dilapidated. They're the original fences from the 1980s. There's been an ask for potentially some beach volleyball there. And I know we're putting in a community garden, but there's still a lot of open space. Potentially that could be beach volleyball. So I'd like to ask for another $30,000 allocated toward Keystone Park improvements.
From where?
If necessary, from the Biscayne Landing management, but if not from there, from somewhere.
No, but you have capital improvement, and this can be a part of capital improvement.
you want to
That
carve that
30 grand.
away?
Can I allocate 30,000 from?
You don't need to. It's the money is already allocated for capital
just tell them what
improvement.
you
You
want.
just gotta identify the title and tell him this is the project that you want.
Well,
From-
I've been making requests like this to staff for months, and
The dog park and everything.
Okay,
The
now
answer is we have to
out
come
of
up
that
with some money.
700,000, you put
Yeah.
that as one of the first requests.
Okay.
Sure. And
there's also a pocket park on well, not a pocket park, but it's a field of mulch on Northwest 135th Street and about 4th Avenue. And I know, Councilwoman, this is in your
Yeah.
district, so if you're cool with this, I mean,
135th.
yeah, it's
On the end there?
135th and 4th.
Yeah.
It's
Talking
not
about-
even only, as you're
talking
headed,
about the nice and the entrance
What-
where they
what-
have that.
I'm sorry, what the address you said, 135th?
135th and
Second
Northwest.
Avenue,
No, it's about
Northwest.
Northwest 4th, maybe Northwest 3rd.
Yeah.
You're headed
Is
toward
the one-
I-95,
Oh,
and there's
oh,
the bend.
Okay, the one that I talked to you about, it's just like a little
Yeah,
something
yeah.
that was
It's
just
got
there.
an,
That's-
it's like a little triangle.
Yeah.
It's got an old swing set
Yeah.
Yeah.
and a bunch of mulch,
We
and
did-
that's all.
We did talk about it.
If there's something we could do to put some shade sails in there, maybe some picnic tables, some
No, we don't. It's unsafe. It's better to put landscape, make the entrance
landscape. I mean, whatever. But at this stage,
We'll
it's
have
not
a
safe. It's
beautification
unsafe,
project and
yeah.
landscaping.
beautiful.
if you've got something there, and fill me in on what you've got in mind. But
Okay.
it's ugly. I literally drive past it to the office every day, and I would hope we would do something there. Oh, and then what the councilwoman suggested about the public service and the uniform walking around, maybe instead of that, we could come up with a greeter who's smiling, who's not in a uniform, like less of a police state and more of a welcoming situation. I don't know, where somebody who's coming in who doesn't know where departments are, who doesn't, that
Customer
there's
service.
a customer service person who greets them. The airport does this, like a Walmart greeter, but somebody who says
What
hi.
about a Macy's greeter?
Right. But I just don't like, I was never comfortable with putting security in the lobby because I don't like people feeling like they walk into their city hall and it's a police situation. I want it to be welcoming. I want it to be warm. So rather than a PSA who's walking around in uniform, maybe a greeter.
Okay.
That's my suggestion. And, the last question I had was page 41 of the budget. Sister City Program. It just says Sister City Program, $10,000. Last night, the councilwoman rightfully suggested that we maybe add a Sister City. But what would this $10,000
What page?
go for? Page 41.
Okay.
What would this $10,000 for the Sister City Program be used for?
Sister Cities International is a program that was started maybe about 5 or 6 years ago. We have a sister city in Delmont, Haiti. We also go to various events or functions for it. Every year we do spend the money as we're getting requests. We trade, I don't know the word. But we help them out with stuff, and we just trade information on government with the sister city. Last year we spent $9,000 in the thing.
On that's what I still am not getting. Okay, we have sister cities. We might have a new sister city. What is this for? Is it for travel? Is it for education? Is it for what is it for?
If we can hold the question for a second, we're going to have the governmental affairs manager discuss. The chief of staff will tell us, will give us more details on the sister city program.
Okay, then I'll reserve the right to ask more questions later.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. That's all I
Okay.
got.
No.
Yes, should I take more money, some money from District 3, or I have enough money? You think I have more money? I'd like to bother him with Sister City business coming up. The permitting, I know that we have been, everybody agree that we need to bring it back home.
Right.
But from what I understand, the reason that it was privatized, we were in deficit, wasn't? That's what happened.
You're talking about CAP government?
Am I talking about something different? Then I'm talking about the same thing.
Talking about the same
I'm not for it, or I just want to know why is it? What was the reason that we actually privatized it?
Back then, City Manager Johnson was evaluating the services, and the services back then were deemed not very well. And he was looking to make a change, and he did investigate some other agencies that did use cap government. I believe City of Aventura and a couple other municipalities, I don't know the names off the top of my head, do use cap government. Basically what it would do, the overall net balance, the city will be in the positive. I believe we did, at that time, we had 2 vacancies in building and zoning, so we chose not to fill those positions. And instead, but if we did fill the positions, the revenue, I think we were gonna be in the negative by about $200,000, the revenue, because the cost, nobody was building during the recession time, the money was going down. Now we have seen an increase in revenues, and as the potential of Biscayne Landing coming on board and the downtown, then we probably will see increased revenues.
That's when you're talking about when the real estate market was crashed.
Exactly.
And you didn't see, okay.
Yes, and this is, I'm just going off of what the previous manager had implemented.
Okay.
The one thing that, just to bring up, even if we do, when Biscayne Landing does come in and downtown, we will see an increased number of permits come in and a lot of permits. There is the possibility we would need to hire additional inspectors, additional permit clerks. So it might be an additional cost. So we just might want to evaluate the cost that will come about from the additional permitting. We might turn around and I'm not sure, I haven't done the numbers, but if we make an additional $5 million in permit fees, maybe our expenses go up by $3 or $4 million. So the rate of return might not be as great as we anticipated being if we have to hire more staff, bring inspectors in-house. Now we contract out the inspectors. We might bring them in-house. If we do bring them in-house, now we're paying benefits, we're paying pension costs, we're paying all of these things on top of that. So
But it's like you pay now about 80 to 85% when you put the 70% plus and
Exactly.
the amount that you charge per
And,
permit.
and I just bring it up, I'm not sure if that's the numbers, and we very well might make more money than we do expend, but I'm just letting you know the possibilities, and that's the stuff we will have to look at when we determine
But
if we're gonna
what
bring
you
it
need to
inside.
understand now, even with cap government right now and staff that we have,
Yes.
we cannot compete with, we cannot deliver.
So the service is not being rendered.
It's not there, even with that.
And that might be the issue, maybe it's a service issue
It
from
is.
cap government.
That's correct.
Okay, but where I was going is that I just want us to keep in mind, if we want to bring it back in-house, we have to budget for it, because downtown is not gonna start next
Right away.
month,
Right.
or
Yeah.
I hope that's soon, but not anytime soon.
Correct.
And Biscayne Landing is not gonna start next 2 months. But if we choose to bring it back with this budget season, we have to understand that we have to budget for the staff that we'll be hiring, and it will not be incompatible with the money that we're bringing in.
Through the city manager, if we do bring it back in-house, we still
No,
have
we-
$700,000 that's budgeted for expenses for cap government. So if we do make a decision before the end of the year, we
So
do
we'll
have
be able to-
$700,000 that we anticipate spending with cap that we can use for employees or whatever we need to do.
May I say something regarding that? Just so you'll have an idea, I'm looking at the agenda package from October 2011.
Okay.
And we had on the, one of the agenda items was to rehire MT Causley. So there is a company that actually we did hire to help us with the inspection and permit fees. And their annual fee to help us do this inspection was $150,480. So we chose not to go with that, and we went 4 months later and hired cap for 50% and raised it to 70%. So there was a company 3 years ago available to help us with our inspection, building inspection, plan review services, 150,000. So I'm just bringing that up because that's a cost.
Really, it makes no difference to me which company that they are, the city choose to hire. My concern is that I don't want to be so emotional, animated about a subject, and we end up putting the city in more debt. So giving staff space to actually study the matters, make sure that if we choose to bring it in-house, which doesn't make any difference to me, however that you guys choose to do it, but the decision should be in the best interest of the city, but not by emotion.
And can I say something before you? And it's not emotional because I've been working with Mr. Alim Ghani for the past 30 days or more
At least 2
about
months
those
on
two
this.
departments. That
Correct.
means it's not just emotional. We've
I'm-
been
no, I'm not-
working and it's
No, and I
try to
think,
put a plan
Councilwoman, you said
together.
the right
I'm not
thing.
accusing
It's-
because I
It's a
did
service.
express I
Okay.
did
Right.
express my concern, and I
You
did
did.
meet with Mr. Fritz about it.
Okay.
So I know the issue is there, but I just want staff to actually make sure come with a well planned strategy to let us know exactly how they're gonna do it. Not just I want it to be in or I want it to be privatized, but if it's gonna be privatized, how that will benefit the city, or if you're gonna keep it, if you're gonna keep bring it back in, how that will be.
Correct.
Okay.
So
And
that's my, it makes a difference in how.
If I may, Mayor,
ma'am.
to answer Councilman Galvin's question about the contract with
Which
CAP.
contract?
The contract with CAP.
Mhm.
So it was instituted in May 2012. It was a 3-year contract, and there is a 30-day termination clause with or without cause.
Okay, so
Thank you.
that takes us through most of the next fiscal year up until April.
No,
No.
but you have a 30-day termination
time.
clause at any time with or without cause.
Okay, I misunderstood
Yeah.
30 days from the end of the contract.
No, 30 days at any time.
Okay,
Okay.
thank you.
Yes. Sir.
Okay, water and sewer, I understand that we actually budget money to buy more cars for the, what is it, for the meter reader? That's what it is? What is it for?
Utility vehicles. No, those are major utility vehicles. That's not for the meter readers. That's an outside company. The meter readers use their own vehicles.
Okay. Do we, is the electronic system that we try to install, is it something that's gonna happen this year or?
As soon as
Soon.
funding is approved by the state, the money would be allocated to start implementing.
Okay. Culpeper Park. I did talk to you, and I have been talking to Duke and the previous city manager as well regarding the walking trail. And it's the fact that we know that we have been having a lot of accident on the, I would say, southwest side of the park.
Okay.
I'm just gonna leave it as that. Please see if we can come back with a quote, how much that will cost us, and what's the plan to actually bring the citizens, because I know we talk about elderly, but it's everybody. This is the most used park in the city, and it's not just us. Let's see if the county wants to contribute, because people everywhere in the county
Everybody,
actually
yes.
using that park. It's 2 peak hours that I use the park as well. It's early in the morning, between 5 o'clock in the morning, people start walking in the park until 9, and by 5 o'clock,
Never see you.
because that you don't come every night, you usually just
Oh,
stop
night.
by.
I
She
thought
runs
it
so
was morning.
fast.
A turtle past
Can't
me.
see her.
So it's
No,
very
it is
important
a
that we
park
address
that, you know, anytime you go around there, you do see a lot of people using it. On the perimeter, a lot of people use running, jogging, walking, and there
Like
is
me,
a
I use
safety
only
issue.
the inside.
Yes. So we'll evaluate.
which is around the building.
We'll evaluate putting the Nautilus course or the track on the inside.
Okay.
Not only the track, if you can do an inside sidewalk.
That's the
throughout
Nautilus
the
track, yeah.
whole- yeah.
With the equipment and everything.
Okay.
I don't know
I'll
about the
see how much-
equipment, but
yeah.
inside and sidewalk.
Okay.
Okay.
You all set?
I'm set.
Okay, now,
Mayor, can we have Natasha address Councilman Galvin's question about Sister City.
Okay.
Thank you, sir.
Good evening. I understand the question was, what is Sister Cities, as well as what the
Can you use
10,000?
the mic?
I know what the Sister Cities is.
Okay.
I want to know, we have $10,000 budgeted for this upcoming fiscal year. It literally just, on the one sheet of paper says, Sister City Program, $10,000. Whereas other pages have detail and breakdown, and this just has that. So what is that $10,000 for?
Okay. The $10,000 includes membership dues for both the national organization, which is based in DC, as well as the Florida affiliation, which is all of South Florida. And it also includes travel to conferences and any type of training or programming that occurs related to the Sister Cities International.
Okay, may I just ask by second reading then, that just like all of the other pages that are broken down, it has the large amount up top and then the subsections, that we just subsection that off as well, please, so I know what I'm approving $10,000 to go toward.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Thank you. And I have no questions. All my questions has been answered inside the budget, and I'm ready to move forward with the budget. And I think are we gonna move it as it is, or we're gonna vote all the amendments one by one? Then I think.
Correct.
I think Councilman Galvin had some stuff. Any changes that you would like to make, I would prefer that you guys voted on the changes now, and then I put them in the book and have the book back to you early next week. So I just don't want to assume anything. I just want to make sure we vote on the changes this evening, so I can address update the book accordingly.
Okay, and
So you want to allocate
the
that from
first
capital
change
improvement?
May I ask
yes.
Madam City Attorney, if something was presented in the budget and one of the member wants to change it, so how do we pose
We're
the
gonna
question?
vote one by one.
So that's really the chair's discretion in
Yeah.
terms of how you
Do
want to
the-
manage
Pose
the
the question.
process.
Oh.
Yeah.
So you can either go item by item, you can say if are there any objections to the specific items, and if there are
Yeah.
objections, then you can vote on the
Right.
objections, would probably be the simpler way to do it
Mhm.
and the quickest way to do it,
Okay.
rather than go through each of the items. Perhaps the budget director can go through the items, and if there are any objections, then you can
Okay,
object to it. If not, then we can assume that they are
Yeah.
adopted.
Well, okay. And the first one, and Councilwoman Keys.
Okay, one minor change is just going back to the 10 and a half for the elected official.
Yes.
Are we gonna go back and address, are you gonna go back and address and try to slim down some of the conferences?
Yes, I'll work with the city manager, and we will look at the conferences.
Okay, for
and
this we don't have to
slim those
vote
down.
on it.
That's it.
Yeah,
Okay.
we're gonna address that. Okay.
Okay, so
No major one. And
with Councilman
Councilman Scott Galvin, and 300,000 was allocated for Biscayne Landing maintenance. You request 50,000 for the library, 100,000 for outside counsel,
Outside legal service. yeah.
legal service or outside counsel, whatever it is. How much money do you have for outside counsel?
84,000. Sorry.
Do you have another
84,000.
800,000 for something else?
800,000, that's the budget.
No.
That's her
That's
annual
budget.
salary.
No. You sure?
No, there's no more budgeted. for-
There's no more.
800,000?
No.
You know how much outside
There's
counsel
no
used to
more?
be? $600,000?
Outside counsel
Used to be over a million.
Yes,
Over a
it was
million
a
at
lot of
one
money. It was
time.
over $1 million.
Over a
Yeah.
million.
And now how much it is?
84,000.
488.
Oh, we give you all the money, okay.
Are you making a
But
motion for
I'll,
that?
I'll ask for another 100 to be added to that then, like I said earlier.
Okay, you want 100 from the Biscayne Landing, or you want 100 from anywhere?
You can take it from anywhere, but my suggestion it was the
Okay.
300 from Biscayne Landing maintenance.
Okay, what else? You asked for
And then
another
the tot
30.
lot money, do you need me to itemize that and break it out, or do you?
No, the tot lot, we'll take it out of capital. It would be
Yeah,
a
it's
capital.
capital improvement.
So then the only two specific changes I'm asking for is $50,000 for library publications, whether they be hard copy or digital, and $100,000 extra for outside legal expenses.
Is that a
Okay,
motion?
I don't know. Okay,
I'll-
and that's your motion, and I don't know if I can add a friendly amendment in your motion, and I'm in favor of 50,000 for the library, and I'm okay for the 100,000 for outside counsel, if and the budget director can find somewhere else in the budget, and we keep the maintenance at 250. That's my friendly amendment. I don't know if you.
Okay, so
agree.
right now maintenance is 300, take 50 from that for
Yeah.
the library, makes it 250,
Mm-hmm.
and then see if you can find another 100 somewhere for
For-
outside legal.
Right.
Yeah, for
Because
that
we
to
do
address
get
the
125, 125 from the from Michael Swedlow's agreement right now.
Yeah, we
Then I can live with that for tonight,
Okay.
certainly.
The friendly amendment is to take 50,000 from the Biscayne Lending maintenance for e-books and books for the library, and find another 100,000 elsewhere for outside counsel. And I second the motion. Do you have it, Mr. City Clerk?
I do. This is what I have. The motion is made by Councilman Galvin, seconded by Mayor Dundro. 100 fine. I'm sorry.
BNMA.
Sorry. Seconded by Mayor Bieneme. Okay,
With the
so
friendly amendment.
with the friendly amendment, it's $100,000 for outside legal expenses to be found somewhere in the budget, and $50,000
Somewhere else.
somewhere else in the budget, and $50,000 from the Biscayne Land and Maintenance money for library. And that's the motion made by Galvin, seconded by
Fill
Mayor
it in
Bieneme.
with the friendly amendment. Okay?
Okay.
Okay. Roll call on that, please.
Okay, I'm gonna write this down. Mayor Bieneme,
Yes.
Councilman Galvin.
Yes.
Councilwoman Steril,
Yes.
Councilwoman Keys.
Yes.
Item passes 4-0.
Okay, now can I hear a motion to approve the budget as amended?
So moved.
Second. Roll call.
Councilman Galvin,
Yes.
Councilwoman Keys,
Yes.
Mayor Bieneme,
Yes.
Councilwoman Steril.
Yes.
Item passes 4-0.
Thank you very much. Can I hear a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
That's it?
Yeah.
Thank you. Good night.
Second.
46 p.m.
No, I'm not going anywhere. That's too early.